Greetings all. Um, Hope everyone is having a awesome weekend. Um, so today I returned to the pulpit after I would say about 2 weeks of being on a recovery bed. um, Yeah, I've been dealing with a bug for quite some time now, but slowly but surely, I'm getting back onto my feet, and I should be back to normal fitness levels in no time. But so today, I was literally not in the, I can say, not in the mood of speaking at church. Last weekend people had there was a big celebration with whole Easter weekend and stuff. And while people were celebrating, I was just nursing myself at home. And I took the rest of this week just to recover. So I literally just got back onto my fitness strength, I think around about Friday. So today I decided, let me sit in the back, let me just listen, because I normally also take part in the musical items, and when I tried, my whole rhythm was off, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm not I'm not back to my full self. So while I'm sitting there, one of the apostles comes to me. Is like, hey brother, because there was a lady a lady preacher who was preaching. So this guy comes to me. Is like, hey brother, once the lady is done, it's your turn, right? I'm like, actually today I was not planning on speaking. Today my spirit is not there. I'm not feeling it. Because I've been dealing with my own stuff for quite some time. So like the whole day I've just been processing. My mind was not there. I was like, I'm not in the right frame of mind to speak. It's like, hey, it's not me. If the Spirit says you need to speak, you need to speak. So I go to an apostolic church which is predominantly full of prophets. So literally we sit in a circle, and if a prophecy comes out and it's about you, literally you get told in front of everybody. In many cases, a lot of people do not wish to go to that church or to faith-based churches because they know that, or their fear is that their deepest secrets will be revealed. I know there was even one lady today who she needed assistance in terms of interpreting a dream whereby she was being chased by two guys, and the bishop asked her a simple question, how many guys do you have in your life? And she came out and said only one, but the rest of us understood where the question was coming from. And as out of respect and not to embarrass her, the old man found a way to break down the message to her so that she doesn't end up feeling like, I was put on the spot. But the rest of us knew exactly what it meant. So in many cases, a lot of people don't like coming to such a church. And please excuse me if I'm coughing a lot. It's just part of the many illnesses that are filtering out of my system. I was actually worse off a few days ago, and yeah, no, it's not COVID related. I've already been for tests. The sad part is my doctor cannot pick up anything, but I know I feel unwell, but they cannot see anything. But yeah, everything will get fine. So as I'm sitting there, the gentleman is like to me, once this lady's done, it's your turn. Out of reluctance, I had to literally force myself up, and then I got up, and then we had a praise and worship session for like 10 minutes, and then I started speaking. And before I could speak, in my head I was like, what on earth am I going to talk about? Because a few weeks ago I spoke about, we all have our own paths in life. We all are on our own journeys. Some of our journeys run parallel, but they come to a point where they're split. Some they meet up again later for whatever reasons. So I'll sit with it while they're busy singing, I'm busy praying. Like, okay, Lord, please just, I don't know what on earth I'm going to talk about. Like, literally, my mind is blank. I'm thinking my own stuff. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to deliver here. And then I get an idea that I need to talk about, burdens. The fact that each and every one of us are carrying some sort of burden. I do a lot of I spend a lot of time in the informal settlements lately for the past 2 to 3 months, and you tend to see people going up and down, people living their lives, people walking to work and back. Some are carrying backpacks, some are not carrying backpacks, but there are those backpacks, non-physical, non-visible backpacks that each and every one of us carries. Each and every one of us are carrying a certain type of burden. And my message today was basically a question, which was, what are you going to do with that burden that you're carrying? There's a lot of people nowadays that others commit suicide, others get into drugs, others resort to violence, which is not necessary, simply because there's certain burdens that they're carrying and they cannot really share, and they don't know who to share it with. I've been absolutely fortunate that I've had a good support structure in terms of my spiritual leaders who, at a time when I needed some counseling and guidance, they were there for me. And it's a daily thing. I'm not going to say that I'm 100% there or I've overcome whatever I needed to overcome, but it's a process, and when you allow yourself to go through the process, you will go through the ups and downs, but the mere fact that you've decided to do something about it, it is a step in the right direction. So there's many of us that are walking around carrying burdens. And as I was busy talking, and I'm thinking to myself, actually, my burdens were the ones that were keeping me down and sitting at the back and not coming forward to deliver the message that I was meant to deliver. Because I'm sitting there, I'm thinking my own things, my own personal things to say, how do I fix this? How do I do that? How do I move from this place to that? How do I strategize when it comes to this? Like, I was thinking a whole lot of stuff, but it's personal stuff. So I was at church physically, but my mind and my spirit was not at church. And as a spiritually gifted person, it becomes a physical ailment when you get into that space. When now you become misaligned, you literally, most of us get physical pain where you can feel that I am not here, my spirit is not at ease. And as I was talking, I could feel myself coming down, and I realized that, yes, I'm talking about people carrying burdens, yet I'm also standing here carrying a burden. But me talking about it, or me sharing that message, was kind of like alleviating some of that, or taking off some of that weight off my shoulders. And there comes a time where you just need to offload that weight. It's not necessary to carry every single burden in your life by yourself. There's a saying that goes by, not a man is not an island. You cannot accomplish everything in this world by yourself, because there are some challenges that you can face by yourself. There are some challenges whereby you're gonna need some assistance, whether in a mental advisory capacity, whether in a physical capacity, whether it's a financial capacity. Sometimes you just gotta swallow your pride and say, when it comes to this issue, I actually need help. And when that help arrives, you need to be open-minded enough to say, I've tried it my way, it didn't work. Let me try it the other way. Because trying it a different way, what else do you have to lose? You've already tried it your way and it's failed. Try it a different way. If it still fails that way, you can just continue with your life. I remember I was having a chat with a colleague of mine during the week around business strategy and how many companies that go through restructuring, when they come up with new solutions to better the business, many companies don't innovate and look for new ways of doing things. They always try and reinvent the same thing. And I think it was Einstein who said, doing the same thing and expecting different results is insanity. You cannot, yes, you may change the wording, you may change the approach, but the bottom line is you're still doing the same thing. You haven't changed, in terms of character, in terms of culture, in terms of where the vision of the business is going. You haven't changed anything. You just took the same thing, redid the wording, put in a few pictures here and there, and brought it back to your employees. Maybe for a week or two, you may get away with it, but after a while, it's gonna come out that actually this is the same as the previous strategy. There's no difference. So where are we going? You end up not growing as a business. The same is equivalent to, in our personal lives. There's things that we carry on a daily basis where we need resolutions, but we keep on applying the same strategy in a different way, but it's still the same strategy. And yet we expect different results. If you keep on doing the same thing, the results are not going to be any different. You just need to be honest with yourself to say, you know what, I've tried it this way. Let me rather try it a whole different way. Like I've been getting a lot of, with regards to my personal things, because in many of the talks that I do in church, even on the podcast here, I speak about my life, my personal life, from like 10 years to 15, 20 years ago. That's what I talk about. And even on my blog, a lot of the stuff that I speak about are with regards to what happens within my life. I haven't even started talking about my current situations. In many cases, I'm referring to the interactions I have with people. I'm referring to experiences that I've had from like 10 years ago, but they are still relevant now, because there are certain things that we do or certain ways that we behave now that is actually a mirror image of how we used to behave back then. And when you haven't really learned any lessons from your past mistakes, you end up repeating them later. So we go through life carrying those burdens, unresolved issues from the past, unresolved hurts, unresolved whatever. We carry that on into the next life and the next day and the next week and the next month. Instead of dealing with it and say, okay, I have this problem, I have a drug problem, I have a honesty problem, I have a stealing problem, and I need to do something about it. The day then you become honest with yourself to say, okay, this is my burden, I'm going to do something about it, then that's the day that at least you're stepping into the right direction. And you would not be doing it for anybody else but yourself. Because before anyone else, the first person that you need to look out for is yourself. For the longest time, I remember I was diagnosed with a cardiovascular illness. So there's certain emotions that I need to control within myself. There are times when my mind just runs away with me and then I get all sick. Probably that's why I'm feeling the way that I've been feeling lately. But I know that that's my problem. That's what I'm living with. So I need to find a way of how do I manage that. Other people have a drug problem. Instead of going to rehab, they rather just say, you know what, I'll keep drinking. Like, for instance, today, on my way to church, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm seeing a lot of people drinking alcohol. You can see these people have been drinking since the previous night. I absolutely have nothing against people that drink at whatever time. I drink myself. Not lately because of the certain reasons, but I drink myself. I can drink the whole day as well, but if it becomes now a consistent thing, then what is it that are you running from? Whereby you find yourself you have to drink in the morning. The same person will keep on talking about, I want to build a business, I want to further my business, I want to grow my small veg business. But you make that money this afternoon, this evening. Before midnight hits, you've already drank all those profits. You have to start off from scratch the next day. So how are you going to progress? You may find that the burden that you're carrying is financial mismanagement, lack of self-discipline. So what are you going to do about that? It was after having that presentation at church where I was sitting down and I was like, wow, okay. Now I'm feeling way much better. And then when I got back into the band, then my rhythm was back. Literally, it's like the whole mood, the whole vibe just got lit up. And I was back to my normal self again. The whole morning I was a whole mess. And that's also one of the reasons why Mondays, Tuesdays, I prefer to stay off social media, because I know those are my days when my alignments are off. Therefore, I try not to engage with people a lot so that I don't end up saying things that are gonna, hurt anyone or break any relationships, or interact in a manner that's gonna be out of my character. Because I know the person that I am, very impatient. I get upset very, very quickly. So those are part of my burdens. And in terms of dealing with them, there's certain spaces that I choose to avoid. So that by the time that I come back, I'm in the right state of mind. I'm able to interact and engage and add value. There's no point in me forcing myself to interact in certain cases and in certain matters where I'm not going to add value. Instead, I'm going to be taking out value and destroying that whole thing altogether. So rather, where you find that you are not in your right frame of mind to be around people or to make a decision or to go for a job interview, then don't go, because you, by forcing yourself, you're just going to ruin everything. You first need to understand the type of person that you are, the burdens that you live with, and you carry on a single day, and make a decision in terms of what are you going to do about it. From there, that's when you know that, okay, this is what I'm dealing with, this is how I handle it. When it creeps up again, this is what I do about it. It doesn't necessarily mean that the burdens that we carry every single day will just miraculously disappear. We need to do something about it. Some, you find that it's burdens that we've carried for life, and we're going to carry for life. That the day that you learn to deal with it, to manage it, then you become the best person for you. And everyone that's around you can feel your positivity, can feel your aura, and can resonate and can draw, positive energy from you. So that's the little that I have for today. The biggest question that I have is, what burdens are you carrying? And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to let the burden draw you down? Are you going to let it dampen your spirit? Or are you actually going to take action and say, you know what, I'm going to deal with it, and make sure that this thing doesn't haunt me anymore? Get it off your back and move forward, knowing that there's nothing holding you back. There's nothing that is going to be like a monkey on your back, keeping on reminding you that, hey, I still need to do this. Hey, I got this problem. We all have problems. One of the scriptures that was read at church today was Matthew 25, talking about final judgment. And normally, like this whole week, whenever I've been going through my Bible, I've been coming across scriptures that talk about judgment. There's no person on this planet that can say they are not a sinner or they don't have issues except for a child. A child has no problems. They've wronged nobody. But the older you get, the more you grow, we tend to step on people's toes through our lives. So I cannot sit here and say I'm perfect, everything in my life is great, and start judging other people. Who am I? Because as much as I can see flaws in other people, I also have my own flaws, which I also need to acknowledge. If someone says to me that you've been wrong here, you've been wrong here, you've been wrong there, I need to step back and listen to what they're saying and look at the situation from where they're coming. Because as much as I may feel that I was not wrong, in their perception, for them it was wrong. Therefore, it will be wrong for me to want to see and judge other people's wrongs, yet I'm not willing to accept my own. We're living in times where every single day, you get on social media, someone has passed away. But now the question is, when that person has passed away, a lot of people are just, they pass away having made peace with who they are, where they are going. There's nothing more painful than a person that you love passing away, and there's still certain things that you wanted to say to them and you wanted to do for them. And I'm in making reference to my mother. I lost my mother in 2015. I had plenty opportunities where I could, literally just voice out how much I feel. And every single day, every single year, I feel like I could have said more, I could have shown her more, I could have done more. That's one of the burdens that I carry every single day. There are days where I find myself crying by myself. Why? Because when I sit and I think about that time, to say, if only I had spent more time with her, if only I had visited her more, if only I had done this and not done that. But I have to make peace with the fact that, that opportunity will never present itself again. So how do I now move forward from that? A lot of us are dealing with a whole lot of challenges where we don't know what it is that we need to do. Sometimes just talking about it, there's absolutely nothing wrong. Like, I see my spiritual leader every single day. From work, I go sit at his house and we just have a chat. I grew up from not knowing my father because he passed away when I was young. So for me, I feel like I've been given a second chance where I can sit with an elderly man who can give me advice and guidance about life. Something that I've never had. I was raised by a single mother. So now I can sit and talk about issues that I face in my life and get some guidance from a man's perspective. A lot of the opinions that I've been formed were influenced from a woman's perspective. At the age of 34, I have an opportunity to hear from a man's perspective to say, maybe try look at it from this angle. Maybe try do this. Or sometimes just sit back and do nothing at all. Because in many times we try to do things to fix things and you end up frustrating a situation. So just step back. You figure out you. Who are you? What do you want in this life? Before you can go out there and say you're going to take over the world. How are you going to take over? Who's going to take over the world? Deal with your own problems. Fix yourself. Understand what do you do with those burdens. Some burdens you have to just, leave it on the side of the road. Some burdens we carry because we've picked up certain things, certain habits along the way which are not necessary. So what do you do with those? Some burdens are part of our family upbringing, our cultural upbringings, our religious backgrounds, our spiritual beliefs, which as you get older, you need to just let go. But every single person has burdens that they're carrying, and no one needs to judge anyone for whatever issues they have. You just need to learn how to live and deal with your burdens and accept people for who they are with their burdens. To say, okay, this is what you're coming with, it's fine, let's move. And you need to accept yourself and acknowledge the burdens that you have and make a decision in terms of what you're going to do about it. Hope everybody has an awesome night. Stay blessed.